Joining me on the show today, the one and only Jessica Benson, host of the Jessica Benson Show, featuring CJ Hurt on Grind CD Media. You can catch her Monday through Friday, bright and early at 8 a.m. on YouTube. You can also catch her on TikTok at JB Jams. Jessica, part of your lore, so to speak, is that you were a high school golfer. Back in 2009,
My
the
lord.
Colorado High School Activities Association 5A state tournament, you placed top 62 on a two-day tournament. Does that make you uniquely qualified to partner with the FedEx St. Jude Championship, or are my facts straight on that one?
Yeah, I think so. I'm really happy that you went for the 2009 state championship and not the 2010 state championship, where I notoriously melted down and hit the ball in the water 7 times in a row on one hole and had perhaps the most devastating round of golf of my life. A round so devastating that I actually retired from the sport, unofficially retired from the sport. And up until just a few years ago, have finally climbed out of the devastation of what it meant to be a competitive golfer. But shout out to you for looking into the CHASA archives. And that junior year was a little bit better. I was very proud to make the state championship that year. And I was never great. I was just happy to break 100. That's how I always looked at it. And at least for one time, I broke 100 in the state championship.
That response is better than anything I could have imagined. 7 times it's in a water.
7 times. I got to the green, and I'll never forget first of all, golf tournaments were stressful for me because my divorced parents would both come. They're wonderfully supportive, but they don't spend a lot of time with each other post-divorce. And so they would have to walk together behind me. And I just remember looking at both of them, just like whispering nervously to one another. And I got to the green, and I don't know what came over me, but I just did a cartwheel. Like, I was like so uncomfortable with how badly I was doing that I just busted out a cartwheel to be like, it's okay. We can all laugh about this. I'm a clown. I absolutely am atrocious in this moment. But yeah, I was like, you can just name me Miss Congeniality of the 2010 CHASA golf tournament. But no, it does not make me qualified. I do at least have a history of holding a golf club and playing golf occasionally. But I love how you called me an ambassador. That's way more official than anything I could have come up with. But that sounds really great and really important. So we'll stick with that.
What a beautiful way to get into our big idea of the day. The FedEx St. Jude Championship begins this week at TPC Southwind in Memphis, marking the first round of the FedEx Cup playoff. Top 70 golfers will be in Memphis fighting for a spot in the top 50 and a ticket to advance to the BMW Championship the following week. Hideki Matsuyama, the defending FedEx St. Jude Championship. I say top 70, it'll actually be the top 69 because they're your FedEx Cup playoffs top 10. Scotty Scheffler, the best in the world right now, had a strong comeback effort in the St. Jude Championship last year, but noticeably missing from this year's tournament is one Rory McIlroy, the world number 2, who is opting to skip this year's tournament, mostly because he doesn't really need to play in it in order to advance to the next round. Came in 68th in 2025. Jessica, you've been doing a lot of promo for the championship, as we've discussed. I'm going to call you the ambassador because I just think it sounds really cool. I know you've been in Memphis, 7 years now? 8? Is this 8? Year 8 for you?
8. Year 8.
What makes this week special in Memphis, the FedEx St. Jude Championship?
Yeah, it's so funny because I've had the opportunity to evolve in how I've consumed the golf tournament. And like when I first got here, it was the FedEx St. Jude Classic. And then we had the time period where it was the World Golf Championship, FedEx St. Jude Invitational. And now we're into the place in the FedEx Cup playoffs with the FedEx St. Jude Championship. And so, like, whatever you call it, a lot of people locally will just say, oh, it's golf tournament week in Memphis. And I do think that's kind of representative of why it can be so fun to go, even if you don't have the credentials to be an ambassador for the tournament or whatever it may be. You don't have to have ever watched any golf in your life to have a good time. And when I first moved here in 2016, my first tournament ended up being 2017 because I got here in August of 2016. But I just remember being so excited to have this big sporting event that brought some of the best golfers in the world at the time and brought everybody together in the dead of summer. And I know it's hot, but it is that period of starvation in sports where unless you're a diehard baseball fan and we've got WNBA action picking up, but you don't have the football season going, you've been without the NBA and the Grizzlies and the Tigers for a minute now. And so the golf tournament has always kind of presented itself as a fun get back into a really passionate sports week in the city. And so whether you're going for the golf itself, where you can get ridiculously close to these golfers. And I remember, covering the tournament when I used to work where you're sitting now at the time, Local 24. It was always fun to see so many kids come out and get handshakes and get balls signed and have the interactions with the various golfers who were here. But then also to see people who really didn't care about the golf and were there for the party element or eating. There's great food opportunities, always great places to drink along the course. Now that I have entered this place where I don't have to work the tournament, I can experience it from the more party side element, the social part of it, I should say. And that's really fun too. So it just really provides a great opportunity for, a wide variety of people to come together, and it's an awesome community event.
Yeah, I love that you don't necessarily have to sweat your tail off sitting
Me too.
on hole 1 or hole 9 or hole 18, as many of the local
I was
sports anchors
9.
will do this week. Hey, but
My
you've
spot
done.
was the ninth hill. I was on that
the
hill
ninth hill,
behind
yeah.
the green, and I sat on that hill, and I could go back and forth between the ninth hill and the interview
media tent.
space. So once
Yeah.
once people started coming in, then I could jump back and forth between the two. But yeah, please respect your local news and local sports reporters this week, because it is one of the more it was always very fun to cover, but in the heat and with the hours you put in, it is a more challenging experience for them.
Yes, it is an incredibly satisfying week when you get to the end of it and realize you've covered a golf tournament for 3 days or so. But again, this is one of the really cool aspects of being a Memphian, because not every city in America is going to get a stop on the PGA Tour, right? And while Memphis is a uniquely basketball city, for them to have Scottie Scheffler come into town. Rory McIlroy won't be here this year, but he's been here before. Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, all those guys come in and compete for a championship and essentially a spot in the next round of the FedEx Cup playoff is really cool to see, because you can really see the competitive fire come out in a lot of these guys. For those Memphians who are golf fans, Jessica makes an excellent point that you can be right next to some of those guys. I remember Rory McIlroy had to hit one out of the trees on hole 9. I think it was last year, the year before. And
Yeah.
I mean, he's circled around with a whole bunch of people all watching him kind of square these things up between the trees. And so it's a really cool week, something fun to experience, even if you're not a golf fan. And a lot of cool stories come out of the golf tournament every year as well. One that I got a couple that I can think of that are just fun to do. So for you, you're kind of acting as an ambassador this year, Jessica. What are some of the cool things that are coming that maybe we haven't seen before? I know you've got a chance to kind of peek behind the curtain before the week started.
Yeah, so they've made some upgrades to the course, and not enough that anyone who's just kind of a casual fan would particularly notice. But for people who have had the opportunity to play the course or who have been out at TPC Southwind, a lot, they would definitely see some of the upgrades. So it'll be fun to see how that presents itself on the broadcast. One of the things I love that they're doing this year on the 14th hole specifically, if a player gets a birdie, they're slashing drink prices to $5 for 5 minutes. So again, trying to promote kind of the social element, the party place of it. But then on the flip side of that too, kids get in free, which is great to present this family opportunity so that you can make it a family event as well. They're doing partnerships this year with Smackers and Torchies. So those are 2 new food groups that are coming in this season, but you also still have the old staples of Birdies and Bubbles, and the Andrew Michaels chicken sandwich will be back, which is absolute fire if you've never had it. You have the Hub. They brought in a ton of new clothing partners when it comes to the merchandise tent this year. Merchandise tent has air conditioning. Hub has air conditioning. We love opportunities for air conditioning. But I always hear from people who are afraid to go out there because it is so hot. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It's hot. Although today, so much better than it was last week. And maybe these cooler high to mid 80s will hang on instead of the mid 90s feels like 110 that we experienced just a week ago. But there's a lot of shade on the course. There's a lot of places where you can kind of duck the sun, duck the heat, and you drink water, you drink whatever you want to drink, and I'm not going to say you don't notice it, but it is survivable to be outside willingly in Memphis in the middle of August. But those are just a couple of the things that they've done to try to help improve the fan experience. And just honestly, being able to have gone as a fan, I think I've been 3 of the 5 years since I've been out of local news. So this is something that, me and my husband really enjoy every year and anticipate going. And we're bummed when we happen to be out of town and can't go to the golf tournament. And that was the case last year. So we're excited to get back out there. But it really does turn into this, just like running into all these people that you don't see all the time, which is such a Memphis experience because we are a schmedium city. But it's nice to catch up with people that you see once a year or that you might not have the opportunity to just see out and about in your normal life. But come golf tournament time, come FedEx St. Jude Championship, you're like, oh, this is so fun. I saw so-and-so, and it was so good to catch up with this person.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we can't lose sight of with this too is just how beneficial it is to the city of Memphis and, of course, to
Yes.
St. Jude Hospital. I mean, since they started this tournament, I want to say the 60s, 70s, 1970, they've raised over $75 million for cancer research. And to be able to see so many of the golfers actually be able to interact with young golfers who have experienced childhood cancer is something that's really cool, a great story that comes out of that every year. The celebrity golf tournament that comes not to TPC Southwind, but to one of the other golf courses in Collierville, and being able to see the celebrities who have such a heart for childhood cancer research as well is something that's really cool. And it's another one of those things that are very uniquely Memphis that unless you live here, you almost don't, you really can't get it. And of course, we're going to get a ton of visitors this year, as we always do, ton of visitors this week, as we always do every year. And it's always kind of cool to see people get kind of a glimpse of what makes Memphis cool. And I know you've been kind of on your high horse. You've been on your tirade.
My high horse.
I wouldn't call it high horse. That's not the right word. But
my soapbox.
Your soapbox, shouting from the mountaintops about how great Memphis is. Why do you think this tournament kind of adds to the lore of all that?
Yeah, it's one of those signature events of the city, and you have an opportunity. It's on national television. Fans of golf will tune in, or maybe somebody who has golf on in the background somewhere will see Memphis on their TV this weekend or this upcoming Thursday through Sunday, and that means something. That matters, and somebody could identify it and say, "Hey, like that looks like a really cool place. I want to go there." Or they might mention a food experience they have, or the fact that St. Jude is here is something that I think you can't yell enough from the rooftops. It's one of the most incredible things we have in the country, and it's right here in Memphis, Tennessee. I've been on TikTok. I've been screaming in these TikTok streets about the underratedness of Memphis and how there's so much good in this city. And like, you get it. You've lived here now a handful of years, and for transplants of Memphis who end up falling in love with the city, I just think it's so important to always use your voice to promote the positives, promote the good, promote the fun, because there's so much room for people to speak on the negative. I don't need to do that anymore. That's not my job, never has been. And I would prefer to highlight all of the good that exists here. And the golf tournament, the FedEx St. Jude Championship, is absolutely one of those very good things that comes to this city every year. It has, the great element of St. Jude, the history with FedEx. This will be the first championship or the first golf tournament since the passing of Fred Smith, but his handprints are all over this and all over the city. And it's just an awesome opportunity to remind people of, this, I'll say it again, schmedium-sized city in West Tennessee that has a ton to offer.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes, exactly.